So, first off,
Okay.
Paul, I want to thank you. Not only is this your second time, but you are one of the first guests that I have recorded with for season three of the podcast. And I'm so happy to get to talk to you because last time I talked to you, there were a lot of questions I didn't get to ask, and now I get to ask them. And I'm really excited for the conversation we're going to have today.
Me too. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity to share. I always love to share the stuff that can help not only you and I who are chatting here with each other, but anyone who's listening, because I do believe in bringing what was otherwise very esoteric kind of understandings and tools in life to bring them forward so people can use them every day. It's
Hmm.
like making it absolutely normal and natural rather than some pie in the sky kind of approach to stuff, because it's not. It's very grounded.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So, I wanted to start off the conversation really by asking you, what do you do and why do you do it?
yeah. What do I do? Plenty of people ask me that. Not many people ask me why. So I appreciate that. Thank you. What I do is, as I describe it to most people, I describe it as uh, helping people change their life in a sort of upward way, in an empowering, enlivening, enriching way. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's really what I do. And I, I, I endeavor, if you like, what I do is I assist them to integrate universal law. It's not something I sort of make up in my head or anything. Maybe it's something I do my own unique way, which I think it is. But they are universal laws. They are cosmic law that that govern. I mean that in not a limiting, but a directional term. Um, they govern our lives and give us great opportunity and power and access to infinite wisdom and everything. These laws of how life and reality functions, and that's what I bring into play with the people I work with, and I apply it to their own unique daily lives and circumstances that they're finding a bit tricky at the time, or
Hmm.
exceedingly difficult, whichever way you look at it. But um, and it's very fulfilling to see that come forth. Um, and I do it because um, I don't know how to express it. I don't want it to sound kind of self-interested or anything, but I love it. I
Yeah.
love it, and I do it because it's helping them, and in helping them, it helps the entire planet because
Hmm.
there is a big shift in consciousness going on. You can see the bedlam of it in the last 20 years, um, as it hits, and it's the energy of love, and it hits with, it suddenly crashes into the energy of fear that we've all lived in. It's really disturbing.
Hmm.
But it's like doing it one life at a time. I can work with somebody and their frequency rises, their consciousness rises. Now, as they do that, their little in the graph of human consciousness going through wherever billions of people are left on the planet, the the little graph of our consciousness goes like this, high or low, whatever, and it brings one of them up. Well, when that happens, it's brought the whole level up to a certain degree to incorporate that. And
Hmm.
so each time one person makes a loving decision instead of a fearful one, makes a conscious effort to maintain their connectedness with everything, with the cosmos, with life, and be more aware of it every time they make loving decisions and meditate or whatever it is they want to be doing and how they want to engage it. It is raising the consciousness of our species. That's a
Hmm.
and that I'm particularly interested in. Even on the corporate work I do, I I work with brands and corporations in an effort to get them and their communications and their intentions behind their products and their brand to be aligned with that higher intention for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And they find then that they flourish instead of feeling this terrible pressure coming on, because anything, if you're operating under that control and fear consciousness, the languaging and everything in it, then it's becoming harder and harder to. That's why you see so much desperation out there, because people are trying to hold on to the familiar old fear-based stuff, and a lot to do with commerce and whatnot, and governance and everything else like that. It's quite distressing. So as
Mm-hmm.
soon as you surrender, and say, okay, I embrace whatever love means, or whatever my own higher consciousness means. Show me, show me the journey, sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. And immediately, the pressure's gone. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I do it for those many reasons of a relief and moving into the higher consciousness. Yeah,
Mhm.
on all levels.
You in explaining this, you said you want people to make a conscious effort. What does that mean? Because I've heard people say, "Oh, you just put your effort, you do the thing." Right? It's all about I feel like when you what do you mean when you say a conscious effort?
Deliberate, deliberately doing things. I'll tell you what. Actually, I'd probably like to correct that, because effort's not the word. I'm using colloquialisms there, but there's a little bit of a sort of barbed wire response to if you say discipline. People go, "Ooh,"
Mm-hmm.
but actually, the disciplines are it's learning self-love,
Mm-hmm.
and deliberately doing the things, doing life the way that promotes your self-love and
Mm-hmm.
your upliftment and empowerment and everything, and promotes it, instead of unwittingly flopping back into the way the
Mm-hmm.
uh, world has been for millennia, and how we've struggled with all of the fear and control and all of that sort of stuff, and conflict and dreadful sort of things we managed to put up with. Uh, and we do, that's like the default mechanism. I would like to see the default mechanism be one of love and upliftment and empowerment and mutual power and uh, effortlessness. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I think people forget to ask when they're trying to manifest stuff, is make it effortless.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't want struggle. Maybe I'm just lazy, but I don't see a use in it, to be quite honest. Although we do have, some people do have a distorted idea that if it's a real struggle, it's been worth it. When they get it, they feel like they're
Mm-hmm.
justified. No, that's just not the way it works. But anyway,
Yeah, I heard this pastor say this one time. He goes, "People always tell me no pain, no gain." He was like, "How about just no pain, no pain? Just how about that?" Like,
I love it. Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. Hey, that's so true. And we've been given all these little adages that we think are real and that we think they mean something, but
Mm-hmm.
actually they are really a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
They're misleading, and whether or not they were given to us for some other reason, or I don't, it doesn't matter. But it's not for us to buy into it anymore. We go, hey, hang on a minute, wake up and go, no more.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things with that, another part of my work, is giving people what's the alternative. We see it's our life's flooded with these things that are normal.
Mm-hmm.
They are normalized, but they're extremely destructive and painful
Mm-hmm.
and traumatic,
Mm-hmm.
but they're normal. I like to think of what is natural for us, and that is a very, very different kettle of fish.
Mm-hmm.
What's natural for us, and it comes effortlessly. It's one of the beautiful things about getting in alignment with the shift that's going on, is that things become effortless. I mean, people who can't believe it. I mean, people who, you can take people who have a very, very strugglesome life because they have nothing, that all they've ever known is struggle and da da da. And at the other end of the scale, you've got people with a lot of resources and money and opportunity and stuff like that. It doesn't matter which one they are, they go, how could that be so easy? How could that have been so effortless?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, welcome to that aligned journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking when you talked about effortlessness and how there are things that are normal. It's not normal to say, I will never struggle. Everything that I put my mind to, I will achieve. That's not a normal thing to do. That maybe was a normal thing to do, but I can guarantee you that 100% of the times that you doubt yourself, there is going to be a higher percentage of failure. It's not going to be 100%, but you're boosting if you believe you can fail, you can fail. It's not going to happen
Correct.
every single time. But
Correct.
I've learned that in my life. When I have never doubted myself, like I don't doubt that I can pick up this glass of water. I know that. That's something that I believe to be true every single time.
Perfect.
But imagine if I was scared to. There are things that we do that we limit ourselves with, and who knows how far our intention and our belief and our inability to doubt, where could take us, you know?
Ah, there isn't a limit. That's the point. There is no
Yeah.
limit. And the fact that we're buried in this ocean of limitation that we've bought into and we persist with unwittingly, like I say, and it's become the norm, shows how powerful we are. Because if we can create that kind of shambles, that kind of agony and conflict and discontent and pain in our lives, if we can do that, how brilliant is that? And that's what we've done. Now
Hmm.
it's like, oh, hang on a minute. It's like when I wrote my first book, From Atoms to Angels. I used to get emails and that and comments from people going, but I didn't create that, because a lot of it's got to do with creation, And they say, well, I wouldn't have created that. No, you wouldn't have,
Hmm.
had you known. But I don't know
Yeah.
about you, Solomon, but I never got given a handbook when I was born, which said, hey, this is what it's actually about. That stuff out there is a absolute illusion.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have had that handbook. That's why I wrote one. Ha.
Hmm.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to seeing the illusion of the things that are either we place on ourselves or things that are placed on us, I think that obviously things that are placed on us we can rise above that. But also I do think there is an aspect where the people that are developing us and growing us, our parents, our families, our friends, our mentors, whoever that is, they can have a limited mindset and that can hurt us, but they could also be doing good and you can't resent them for being like, "Oh, you limited me." Because that's just the world we live in is that world. Now, thankfully, there are people like you out there who are helping the world change one person at a time, which is
Yeah.
amazing. And hopefully this podcast will change so many people. But I think as well, like, how do we rise above the limitations? Like when I mean, I'm 18 years old. I don't know when I'm gonna have a kid. Probably not super soon, but what as like a future father, like what can I do to raise my kid in a world without limitation, in a world where everything says that stuff is limited?
Yeah, that's tricky. But the point is, how you are being is what will uh, affect or influence the growth of that boy or girl
Mm-hmm.
in your that new being in your life.
Yeah.
So that's what will influence it, how you are being, because you, as a parent, you would be any parent um, is an illustration. It's a example of
Mm-hmm.
unconditional love. You got to remember that that baby has arrived from an environment of utter unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
It knows nothing else, and so when it comes into the world, it goes, "Oh, this must be unconditional love."
Mm-hmm.
Now there can be a lot of really tricky and peculiar stuff that can go on there that they assume then and learn you know, um, is unconditional love. And it can be utter control and fear and limitation. And
Mm-hmm.
most of it is in one way or another. And
Mm-hmm.
as you say, it's no, there is no benefit in blame. I think blame is a waste, an utter waste of space and a misconception of our responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we blame and we think somebody else is to fault, number one, there is no fault. There's nothing wrong. It's just a learning environment.
Yeah.
But number two, anything out there, anything out here in my life, is me. It's
Hmm.
not them. So there's no point in, you can't, there's no point in trying to change the outside world and then to match this because it already is. It's already matching this. That's
Yeah.
why I play. And when we do that, we tend to not blame. And so
Hmm.
we when you get in that space, you then come.
Hey everyone, I want to take a quick moment to shout out my friends at Conviction Co. If you know me, you know I love my hats. And my friends at Conviction Co. have not only made an amazing hat, but hats that stand for something amazing. I'm obsessed with these, and you will be too. Seriously. They're such great quality, and I love them so much. So head over right now to convictionco.com to grab your own hats and stand with me in standing for something you believe in and looking and feeling good while doing it. Use code WAXON, at checkout for 10% off. That's wax on, wax off for 10% off at checkout. Trust me, you'll love these hats as much as I do. Use the link below. Let's get back into the episode.
Like cosmic love, or if you like universal love,
Mm-hmm.
which is allowance. That's the
Yeah.
best way to describe it. And I say then you find yourself more willing and able to allow someone to be on their journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because the alternative is to control them so they match your own needs or
Mm-hmm.
your own expectations or your own beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't impact our ego. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to impact my ego. So, manipulate it to, and that's what's going on in the world basically. But if you give birth, uh, well, I don't know. I doubt that you personally will give birth. when when you when you become a parent and you have that mindset, that child is then exposed. It's immersed in that ocean of allowance, that
Mm-hmm.
ocean of genuine love. There
Mm-hmm.
you go. And they will grow accordingly. But it's a huge discipline, Solomon. As you've said yourself, there's that world of just craziness and distraction out there that it's all kinds of stuff that is just incomprehensible to some,
Mm-hmm.
incomprehensible that we don't comprehend it to others. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but it's such a huge proportion of it has been there for vast pasts, and it's been there almost blanket coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So it has become normalized, but that does not mean it's natural and it does not mean it's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because something's popular, which it seems to be because everybody keeps doing it, or maybe they don't have the alternative. That's where I come in, or you
Mm-hmm.
come in as well. There you go. Um, but just because something's popular does not make it right.
Yeah.
And equally, unfortunately, just because something is right does not make it popular.
Yeah.
And that's what we're stuck with. So it does come down to one life, one heart, one soul at a time,
Mm-hmm.
making those adjustments in themselves. And then every other soul around them, especially a little being that's a sponge for what's around it, just
Mm-hmm.
goes and it just assimilates that. I met this couple who lived on lighthouses
Hmm.
for like 20 years, and they just loved the isolation of it. And they'd had two kids, and those kids were extraordinary. They were not, how can I put, they were children, don't get me wrong. They were like, you know about 10 and 12 or something, I forget now exactly. And but they had this maturity about them, but they hadn't lost their childhood. They hadn't lost their childness,
Yeah.
in it. Hadn't
Yeah.
lost that, but they had this spiritually mature view of life that had no question marks in it. It was
Mm-hmm.
just, it's beautiful. You see, because they were isolated
Mm-hmm.
from all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak for myself. I've always been, people have said an old soul. I've always grown up around the adults, and that's always been my life. I felt more comfortable around adults than I did kids my age. And I had a very interesting childhood growing up traveling with my dad, meeting amazing people like Elle, like you, like all of these people. I've just grown up meeting some of the most fantastic people, and and even people that people would put on a pedestal, like celebrities and famous people. And what I've learned is just we're all people. Like we're all people. Like there's no difference between me and Gwyneth Paltrow. I've met her. She's just a normal lady who
Well,
just
there's some differences, but I know
okay,
what you mean.
financially,
No, you don't
but
look the same either.
oh,
But
true. Um, but like, there's no difference, but we're all
correct.
people. We all value the same things. And even though she has the money and the cars and whatever the thing that, like, people would look on the outside and say that that makes her her. Like she's made it. That's not what it is. She loves her family. That's her most
Yeah,
important thing. She loves her
yeah,
kids more than anything. Like that's the most valuable thing. And there are these, like you said, what you said, universal laws. There are these universal things that are more valuable than anything else. And no amount of money or physical items will replace what you get from those universally valuable things. Like they're so valuable, nothing can compare to it. And I mean, I'd love for you to go over what you've found throughout your whole life of like what have been for you those universally valuable things.
I have always, like I said, my once I clicked to all of this, which is back in the 80s, basically 1980s. I'm sorry, but it's what. But anyway, uh, and I started a meditation regimen, and my life just began click, 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 notch, notch, notch at a time, transforming. I look back sometimes and I go, "Oh, that never used to happen. What's happened?" It's I in a way I couldn't keep up with it. But it is connecting with nature. And what I found is, and I learned through my meditations, I come back, that were quite unusual as it happens, but I think they were normal because I only knew my own meditations. I don't go into other people's ones. Um, and I learned these, cosmic laws or universal laws or principles. It's not really, it's law like LORE as much as LAWR.
Hmm.
There's a big difference between law, what's legal and what's lawful. Well, when you come back to natural law or cosmic law, these are things that whatever we do or say or think or wish or whatever, you can't change them.
Yeah.
But if you conflict with them, they're going to hurt. And
Yes.
that doesn't make them bad. It
No.
means we made the mistake. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
oh my goodness, where did I conflict with that?
Mm-hmm.
How did I bring that about for myself? And then all of those painful, traumatic instances in our life teach us our spiritual responsibility here. And it's extremely empowering. That's the part that I found. And it doesn't matter what was going on in my life. I learned that it's an empowering experience that to be here in this embodiment in amongst this kind of bizarre world we're in, and being self-aware and self-determined
Mm-hmm.
or self-reliant, self-responsible is massively educational, spiritually speaking,
Mm-hmm.
massively. And you can't avoid it. Once you step into it, you can't avoid learning. So if you start meditating as a simple thing, which I highly recommend, um, you just start learning because your life experiences are compelled to change as you change. And so you see them happening, you go, hang on a minute, that's not what I'm used to. And some people get upset about it, but the reason is that you're not who you used to be,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And that's the growth process. But we can get locked into thinking we are meant to be like that over there, or we're supposed to emulate them over there, or whatever is like that, instead of the one thing we are meant to do is be our unique selves
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and, and honor that, express it into the world, however it comes to you. And then the question is, well, how do I identify that though?
Yes.
Well, if it feels like conflict and pain and crap in your life, then it's not resonating with the loving self that's naturally within you.
Mm-hmm. A question that I have when you talk about that is, so let's say for instance me, right? My podcast, I love when I'm in the moment here with you right now. This is probably when I'm happiest, other than when I'm drumming. I love drumming so much, and nothing
Yeah.
fulfills me more than that. But right now I'm in a state of bliss. I love being here with you. And this is following my passion and the thing I was created here to do. But there are also some aspects of this that I don't like. I don't like having to post things on social media. I don't like having to set up some stuff. Like there are things that are maybe don't make me feel as great as I feel right now. So are those things, is that just kind of what happens? Is there are going to be some tough things for a reward, or what do you think about that idea?
Number one, number one, I believe it's what I've experienced, the way people handle their life or have handled it in the past, and it's been quite destructive for them, is just to throw out things that have some conflict in them because they're
Mm-hmm.
so avoiding conflict.
Mm-hmm.
They're so avoiding the struggle or the pain or whatever. They want to because the other part looks so fantastic because it feels great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why wouldn't you want more of that? Of course. The thing is, it's just reminding you. The thing is to take, like, do a stock take, like in a business or something. You've got a shop or whatever it is, and you take a stock take. Well, do a stock take of the things that you do love about your life. If it's your work, then what are the things I do love about it? And make sure you never forget those.
Mm-hmm.
You may also encounter things that are not crazy happy for you or whatever,
Yeah.
or whatever. They're challenging. Okay, that's teaching you something. Any challenge in it is teaching you something valuable, and it's all about making self-loving decisions again, and maybe a self-loving choice for you or a self-loving decision, so that you can spend more time on more of the interaction, which you're obviously, that is your forte and your passion in there. um Maybe that means liberating your other time and giving it to someone else to do those things. And there are people out there who absolutely relish doing all of those organizational things. I'm not one of
Mm-hmm.
them. so so I I get faced with the same thing. But it always makes me, for me, I look at it and I go, oh, there it is again. There's that same thing. It's like travel, for because I've spent mass amount of my years traveling a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and organizing that travel is something I don't relish doing. I try and get it out of the way as quick as I can so I'll get on with what I really want to do, which is have these sorts of discussions
Yeah.
with with you and with with clients and people who want to change their life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I go, okay, then there's a part of me that is not a natural organizer.
Mm-hmm.
I will do that stuff, but it will not poison
Mm-hmm.
the stuff I love. I will
Yeah.
not allow it to encroach on that. So I'll nail, for example, a time in the day. I go, there's my diary. Thursday mornings I'm going to be I'm going to be doing all this stuff I don't want to have to do. I'm going to do it all and nail it. And that's the Thursday morning gone kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
However you want, it might be an hour a day or whatever it is like that.
Mm-hmm.
But do them and go. But that's self-loving because number one, I'm learning the organizational skills I'm light on, and it's simultaneously enabling me to spend really quality time in the things that I absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's behaving in a self-loving way, but we're also taught not to do that because correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've experienced with people is they go, "Isn't that selfish?" There's a difference between self-interest and selfishness,
Mm-hmm.
or and self-interest is when nothing else matters and it's only my stuff that matters. But selfish is kind of, there's kind of all sorts of connotations, unfortunately. There maybe there needs to be another word or something, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like caring for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't care for yourself, guess what? The universe is going to show you that you don't by giving you experiences when nobody's caring for you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares about you. Nobody listens to me, whatever it is. So when you do it for yourself, your universe presents you with experiences that support that self-caring attitude. And
Mm-hmm.
so you might find that all organizational stuff just miraculously disappears because somebody says to you, "Hey, Solomon, I understand you do these podcasts. You must need some help with the technical side of that. Why don't you let me do it?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's something that's really cool is these two paths of people who have these loves and these passions and their purpose. Two purposes intertwine. And then not only are you both doing your purposes, but you're doing it with someone. So then you have companionship, you have friendship, you have maybe even love with these people, and you are two people who have purposes that maybe are not the same. They don't have to be the same, but they intertwine. And that's what's cool about how these
Correct.
opposites intertwine and go together like DNA.
Oh, that's a nice metaphor, actually. Yeah, yeah, I like that. Yeah, it
Hmm.
does go together like DNA, and it probably does if a child were to be born of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, but I think that comes down to our value systems. Unfortunately, once again, we're given value systems by an a prevailing system around us, whether it's governance or religion or community or family or whatever it is, social stuff, whatever it is. But it's really important part of the journey of awakening or raising our consciousness to find what our values actually are, irrespective of all of that.
Hmm.
And one of my solutions is that to say, I've said people get used to questioning everything, especially the things that you think can't be questioned.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
Question everything because you will find out some of those things resonate with you because they're common sense, or they actually they do make sense. You know what I mean? And that's
Hmm.
cool, But some of them might be utterly biased, damaging,
Hmm.
harmful ideas and values because it's someone else's self-interest
Yeah.
overlaying, trying to overlay your self-love.
I found this in growing up in a religious context. I grew up Christian. I loved it. It was great. And I have amazing parents who love me and set a great example for me. But as I got into my teenage years, I started to do that and I started to question these things that people were doing. There were some red flags that would pop up and I would question them and people would look at me and they would go, "Wait, why are you questioning this? This is the thing that you're not supposed to question." And I would question these and anything that is backed by love. This is what I found. Anything that is backed by love, when someone is doing it out of love, it is right. It is pure, it is pure, it is true. But then there are people who take these things that were backed by love, built by love, put there for the purpose of loving other people, and they intertwine it with selfish desire and the human self. We're
Correct.
gonna mess things up. That's just kind of part of what we do a little bit. We're gonna
What do you got? What are we going to? We've already messed it up.
exactly. Yeah. So when we do that and when that happens, of course there's going to be hurt. And when I and it's not about being a victim. We talked about victimhood. It's not being a victim of the hurt. It's about rising above that because we have the ability to rise above hurt. We were given
Oh,
that
yeah.
ability.
Yep.
And we need to you're not it's okay to be hurt. People will hurt you, but you can rise above the hurt. At least that's what I believe. I'd like to hear your insights on that.
Well, I think people can do and say things. Uh, Prevailing control systems can do and say things that you could feel hurt by if you chose to be.
Mm.
So it's really about perception.
Mm-hmm.
Say, oh, there's somebody who's, you know, insulting me or calling me names or trying to diminish my self-worth or whatever, and just observe. That's one of the things. As your frequency rises and your consciousness rises, you end up being more detached about stuff like that. So you can be right in it and
Mm-hmm.
inside it, and they're sort of downloading on you, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and you can't look at them. And actually, inside, you're not even aware of what they're saying. Now, why is that person arguing with me? Why are they, you're asking all these really calm, constructive questions. Why
Mm-hmm.
I must be arguing with myself at times. I must give that some attention. In the meantime, they're downloading all of their stuff, you know. But anytime anybody says anything to or about you, it's got nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's it's to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're doing it. It's because they didn't have that um loving introduction to whatever that concept was about that
Mm-hmm.
you had. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it right. It just makes it different. And is it a choice you would make? No, oh, disappear. Don't be back there again
Mm-hmm.
because that's not helping you maintain your frequency and raise it so that you can be bathing in that ocean, that river of love and fulfillment and ease and wonder that it is when you are doing something that really resonates with you.
Yeah.
You're
Uh,
spending your life anyway because they're miserable.
yeah.
They've chosen something and they have chosen to stay with it, something that really pains them
Mm-hmm.
and even harms them, usually does. So that is where my own work intersects with that, if you like,
Mm-hmm.
is helping people see that that uh, um, manifestation in their life and how to let go of the conflict and let go of the anxiety or the stress that goes with it or
Mm-hmm.
distress with it. Funnily enough, distress. Oh, anyway, that goes with it. And then so gives them an understanding of why their life has manifested the way it has. Maybe it's only one area that they're concerned about, and maybe it's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the process of how they can apply that. And I guess that's a sort of coaching part of my life
Yeah.
is um, guiding them through applying that knowledge into the real situation of their life,
Mm-hmm.
really day to day, very real basis, you know.
Mm-hmm. Talking a
And that's
little,
what I love because you see changes really quickly, you know.
yeah. Talking a little bit about your work, a lot of people my age struggle to find the thing that they want to do, and they have a lot of anxiety about finding that thing. What is the thing? I'm going into college, right? I have to consider what is the thing that I want to do for the rest of my life. How did you know that the thing you do, your career, whatever it may be, how did you know that that thing was the thing that you should and will do?
Mm. I didn't, if I'm really, really clear about this, I didn't know,
Hmm.
but I knew somehow
Yeah.
something inside me knew, you know. And what I did basically as a precursor to that, I mean, it happened, it crept up on me, to be quite straight about it. It crept up on me because I was very happy in a career totally different, and my own business as well. So it wasn't as if it was a massive uh, structural shift,
Mm-hmm.
but content wise, my life changed utterly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but because of this coming in, and and impassioned me so much more than anything I'd done before. And I loved my work. I loved my career. Absolutely loved it. And and I believe that's why, and that's how I magnetized this into my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because it actually began happening through my
Mm-hmm.
business that I loved. You know,
Yeah.
it was advertising. I was a creative director in advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the creative process. So like I love live music and I love live performance and
Mm-hmm.
just art galleries. Just I can spend days, weeks,
Yeah.
but that whole creative process, brilliant writing, but everything is creative. We are creating. All of us are creating our reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned there that because I was so impassioned and so loving what I was doing as work, that when it began to tip, which it did, it started to taper off because I was in a situation where it wasn't as functional as it had been in my life. and losing the I was kind of losing the wind out of my sails on that regard.
Mm-hmm.
This work started coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and it, it's not only that you just want to get up in the morning and everything, it's you sort of feel like you can't not do it,
Yeah.
it's and I mean, advertising was a pretty stressful game to be in, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I found that I had a great capacity for doing stuff for work and without it wearing me out or anything,
Mm-hmm.
because I loved it. I
Mm-hmm.
never knew what the time was. It never even occurred to me what the time was whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
The how and why. It just didn't mean anything because I was doing it. And then I'd wake up out of my little working bee on whatever I was doing, and I'd look up at the clock and think, like 4 hours ago, well, something gone by, and I'd all this stuff, and it's like I never even noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I really believe that when people, and I come across this often once again in my work, where people are very, very distressed by their work, their
Mm-hmm.
job, and it's invariably when people are stressed or they've got the anxiety or despondency, or even, yeah, it's that they're not doing what they want. Sorry, they're doing something they don't want,
Mm-hmm.
is more the point. That's actually the point.
Yeah.
And every time you then start making a step to something that lights your fire, that you puts a smile on your face and gives you some excitement or something, every time you do that, you come back out of it. You start coming back out of it, and the universe, creation, recognizes that because it's your natural you, and it goes,
Mm-hmm.
oh, here's some more, and here's some more. And that's what happened. My This work for me just exploded beyond any concept I would have ever had of it. Because here's me after a reasonably, I couldn't call advertising secure at those in those days, but a sort of secure career.
Mm-hmm.
uh, into this was a bit of an insecurity reach, It was, um, but I could not do it. Is the point? I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't bring myself to ignore that. I thought, if I one day, am I going to be happy I did it, or I'm going to be happy I didn't do it?
Mm-hmm.
Invariably, I'll be happy I tried. Happy I
Mm-hmm.
did it, and I so am. So it's
Yeah.
it's about identifying things that resonate with you,
Mm-hmm.
and utterly ignoring things that don't. And that
Mm-hmm.
can be sound quite severe, but that is one of those disciplines we spoke about a little bit earlier there.
Yeah.
It's spiritual skill is to be detached and disciplined about it. Because I had a lot of people, it's because I've won awards in advertising, and people say, oh, you've done so well, and you're really on the crest of the wave kind of thing. Why are you getting out of advertising? But the whole point was that I had found something that was more impassioning for me, and they had no idea because they were still ensconced in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and so those influences can be really strong and undermine your assuredness that you have in trusting your heart.
Hmm.
And so it really is a discipline to stick with it and go, I have faith in myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I have faith that my best friend out here is creation. It's the universe. It's life. Life is my friend, not my enemy. If
Mm-hmm.
it hurts, why did I make it hurt?
Mm-hmm.
How did I make it hurt?
Mm-hmm.
And once again, that's where my work comes in. I say, well, it's hurting because of, look what you did. Oh my God, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't even see it. They
Yeah.
weren't aware because we're not. And so
Yeah.
when you mindful, if you like, mindful through which is one of the offshoots of meditation, one of the byproducts of meditation,
Mm-hmm.
you become more aware of those things that are actually harming you. And then, as the discipline and the healing of doing something about it, and thereby conflicting in some way with
Mm-hmm.
opinions like your parents or your friends or with society or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
by going, well, I want to be a beach bum.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I really believe in. you know, so go and do it. See how you get on. How's it
Yeah.
working for you? You know, and the universe will feed you. It, it's natural. It's utterly natural, and it's really supercharged. You know, when you're
Hmm.
doing what you really love, it just sweeps you up like a tsunami and feeds you. You know, it's lovely. But
Mm.
and all you need to do to get to that, which is what you were asking about earlier, is to begin. Just take steps towards things that do lift you
Hmm.
energy, that do impassion you,
Hmm.
that do excite you and fascinate you and interest you. Spend some time on it or research. You know, it doesn't have to cost anything or whatever. Um, but when you do that, your relationship with creation becomes intensified and it goes, gotcha. I can see exactly where that's working to raise you back to your home frequency. I can
Hmm.
see how it's working. Come on, come on. I'll give you some more.
Hmm.
And that's what happens. And the other
Yeah.
way, it just lets you go because it has absolutely no will or desire to help you plummet.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
has absolutely no interest in that, So it'll
Hmm.
let you go and go, oh, you let me know we need some help as you fall down that, abyss.
Hmm. You mentioned home frequency, and then we were also talking off camera about how to raise your frequency. What does it mean to be at a high frequency or a low frequency? And how that pertains to consciousness. Can you define all those things and explain them for people who are like, I've never heard high frequency other than when it comes to like sound or something like that.
Sound or something, yeah, like that thing, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Uh, um, sure, I think I can make that pretty simple actually, and that is frequency is how energy works. So like whether you're going on a sound or on a sound, that's
Hmm.
just frequency. It's still sound.
Hmm.
Well, it's the same with love and fear.
Hmm.
It's just frequency. It's
Hmm.
all one energy. I do not at all buy into the idea that there are different energies.
Hmm.
There is only one, and it's light.
Hmm.
And it manifests in all kinds of material, emotional, mental, um, attitudinal, active ways in our lives. It is just frequency.
Hmm.
Everything, whether it's that blade of grass out there or it's that big lump of concrete over there, it's still the same energy that comes into these subatomic particles.
Hmm.
And somehow, by witchcraft or whatever, sort of manifest as stuff that we think is real. I mean, it's kind of a joke. When we look back on all of this, I think we're going to have a big laugh. But
Yeah.
when we get out, and I know I do, even at this point where I still look out there and I go, well, those hills out there, they've got hills and rocks all around here. It's beautiful.
Hmm.
And I go, there's more space in those rocks out there than there is stuff, And I'm going, and it's hard for people to get their head around it. So it's about frequency, but it is,
Hmm.
and that energy, when it becomes integrated with the operator, if you like, or the intelligence,
Hmm.
it becomes manifest. It
Hmm.
becomes animated in some way,
Hmm.
tangible.
Yeah.
So, and that's why, our thoughts then become the way, our belief systems and everything become the way we feel about things and respond to things, which is our emotions, our relationship with life. And
Hmm.
as we keep doing that, it becomes our physical body with all of the wellness or illness that's there and the steps we take and the way we move our hands and things we actually do in life. It
Hmm.
becomes what our life is because we had it in here.
Hmm.
Now, when we raise our frequency, it releases the limits in here,
Hmm.
widens the funnel. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
it gives a very, very important power of our spirituality, which is choice.
Hmm.
And really what we're doing is learning to exercise our choice with love.
Hmm.
First self-love and then universal, general love, love
Yeah.
for everyone.
I love how you talk about choice. I was talking with a friend last night. We were talking about I don't know if you might know the story of in the Bible they talk about the spies that go into the promised land and they're supposed to go in there and they're scouting and they're looking at it and they're seeing what it is and everyone sees the same thing and then they come back and there are only two guys after seeing the promised land they say it was the most beautiful thing ever. It was everything I've ever wanted. All the other guys were like, this is terrifying. We should never go there. Do not go there.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, right,
And I
exactly.
was thinking about this as us. We have the choice to be the two guys. It was not a different scenario. It was the same thing. We all see the same world, but we see it differently just because of our frequency. Those two guys were the person with the expanded consciousness. They
Correct.
saw the beauty in it. They had the choice. We all have the choice to see it. It's just who are we going to be? Are we going to be the person? Are we going to be the version of ourselves that sees the beauty in the world and expands our consciousness and heightens our frequency? Or are we going to be the low frequency who's like, this is terrifying. We can't be here. We can't go here. And I was
One's the
just,
love, one's the fear. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And me and my friend were geeking out last night talking about that. And I really love that analogy of we get the choice to like, a lot of us are dealt cards that are similar to one another. Some of us aren't, but we all get the choice to play those cards a certain way.
You know what? In my own what my own teaching is that I say to people because I like to. I'm a Virgo, right?
Hmm.
So I like to make things practical if I possibly can. I
Hmm.
like to and make it as simple as I can and as meaningful as I can without so it doesn't end up being in the head and turning to fluff. So I believe that one of the primary manifestations of the energy or frequencies of love, and I don't mean lovey-dovey,
Hmm.
whatever this kind of that human sort of ego version of love, if you like, that most people identify with, but I mean love consciousness
Hmm.
is choice. We allow that spectrum of things, that whole horizon to exist,
Hmm.
allow it to exist, and then allow yourself to choose from that the things that resonate with you and
Hmm.
leave the rest.
Yeah. I
It's
I
all about allowance and choice. And when we exercise that with love, we're really cutting it.
mhm.
We're really making it.
I heard I don't know if you're familiar with Robert Edward Grant, but he
Yes.
he was on my podcast one time and he talked about life. He said, "What if life was like a video game? Like what if you were the character and you got to build him into whatever you wanted to be?" He said there's a commonality in every single video game like hero, right? In every character in books as well. The hero had all these powers, he lost them, and then he gains them back. And he was like, you get to build that character and you get to pick how you build that back. You're building that back and we're gaining our powers. Because the story wouldn't be fun if the hero was already all powerful and he got to destroy and like he won
Yeah.
everything, right? Like he was already the
Yeah.
winner. It's the
Yeah.
journey. It's the journey
Yeah.
that makes the story interesting. And we get to build our journey. We get to write that story every single day that you wake up. It's not like, ah, this is another Monday. It's this could be the day that one of the biggest things in your life ever happened. It could be amazing. And when you look at the world like that, as you're taking authority and ownership of your life, and you view it as your story, it's so exciting and beautiful and happy and amazing. It does take
Yeah.
time and it takes, like you said, it takes discipline to learn how to write and learn how to write the story and
Yeah.
to pick up that pen because part of that pen is it's a little scary to do because now you're in charge of your own ship. But instead of viewing it
You're
out of
putting it in
fear,
the ball. Mm.
yeah. Instead of viewing it out of fear, you're viewing it out of love. This is amazing. I get to build this story. I mean, you can see my
Yeah.
face. I'm lit up thinking about
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
of this.
Precisely.
Um,
That's exactly. It's beautiful. That's exactly what we're doing, and we are those trying to, wizards. We
Yes,
are,
exactly.
just learn to snap our fingers and bingo. It's that, it really is that, and we have been so crushed under a blanket of denial and conflict and distraction, if you like, that we've just forgotten. All we're
Hmm.
doing is remembering. It's
Hmm.
not, we're not gaining something new, except memory, maybe.
Hmm.
We're just recalling stuff things that we already are. We're
Hmm.
absolutely infinitely potent beings. It's just we can be in situations where that seems like an utter impossibility,
Hmm.
but step by step,
Hmm.
it happens. you know
Yeah.
and those people, the thing is, when you write that book, or when you go into the promised land sort of thing, you come back, there is an opportunity that, let's call it an opportunity, shall we, where you end up that what you've decided to do conflicts with what the masses around you think is cool or okay, or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing you're doing. It's not just what you're doing, but the environment in which you do it. And then all of those qualities come forth, which, trust and courage are both qualities of the heart. And where we first start interfacing with love consciousness,
Hmm.
because all the rest of it basically is immersed in fear. There is love opportunities in there, but it's been so awash with fear that we've lost it a bit. So as we open our heart up and activate our heart energy, we build the courage and the trust in ourselves and life and frequency, if you like,
Hmm.
to build that regardless of whether anybody can accept it or not. Now we know in history there have been those who have conflicted with the mass in order to stand for what they believed was right. And what happened turned out to be utterly correct. But at
Hmm.
the time they risked losing their life, and often did lose their life, because their belief was not the mass belief.
Yeah.
But now it's spreading so fast that there are so many people who feel that excitement and touch it. And hopefully those who watch this podcast, for example, will recognize that in their life there's something that really touches them, and they go, but I shouldn't do that, because that's going to upset my
Hmm.
dad, upset my cousin, or the government, or whatever it is, like that. But
Hmm.
they what they're doing is touching on that heart energy that's now
Hmm.
ready. The doors that not only open, it's been kicked off its hinges,
Hmm.
so that humanity can touch that, but it will bring those things to light sooner or later. And they either choose, as you say, to go back to the village and say, it's terrible over there, it's dreadful, it's really, really frightening and scary and something we don't know about, and it's going to harm us. Or you can go back to the one who says, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I have utter faith in it. I want to go back,
Hmm.
and live there.
Yeah.
So you always have that choice, and give yourself the choice. That's the point. And I think
Hmm.
when people relax about it and go, I do have the choice, I do. It's a way of saying, I do love myself.
Hmm.
I will find the choice in everything,
Hmm.
and I will act on it and entrust myself to that choice I make.
Hmm.
I don't need someone to tell me what's right or wrong or good or bad or whatever it is.
Hmm.
I Because there is no such thing, except,
Hmm.
once again, in this here, in the
Hmm.
perception aspect. Yeah. And so I have faith in myself to deal with that and cope with that and benefit from it and blossom under its effect.
Hmm.
I have that choice. I give myself that choice right now.
Hmm.
I'm on. And
Yeah.
that's a massively self-loving action and thought process.
Yeah. There are only I wouldn't say I like how you said spectrum, but there are only really two kinds of choices. There are choices based in love or choices based in fear. And
Correct.
then I also this for the love and fear was hard for me to apply. So I tell myself this: there are only infinite choices or finite choices, because I know when I make like what would be perceivably a bad choice, it would be a finite choice. It was a choice that I would gratify myself in the moment, and then I didn't feel good afterwards. Like for instance, I eat gluten free. I decided to eat gluten recently. That was a very finite choice, let me tell you. But then there are other choices, infinite choices, like investing in my health. That is infinite. I'm investing in myself. I'm doing things for future me. That's with the future in mind.
Yeah,
Infinite,
it's
the
like
infinite
meditating.
possibilities.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. All of that is infinite or finite choices. I think people with are wired differently. So infinite, finite, love, fear. It's really talking about the same thing because love is
yeah.
infinite and fear is finite. Um,
See, I like to think of it as directional. So if you've got a scale of energy from infinite that way to infinite that way,
hmm,
you know, fear is relative to you, once again, to your perceptions. But
hmm,
I like to think of it, fear as a direction downwards. You can be high consciousness and instill fear.
hmm.
That has happened in history already.
Yes.
Where somebody's so high consciousness, they know exactly how to use it to manipulate masses.
Hmm,
Now, that is an evil. Evil is it's just evil. It's not good or bad. It's just evil. And evil is the deliberate lowering of consciousness. I don't care under what context, the
yeah.
deliberate, purposely lowering someone's consciousness, even your own.
Hmm,
Doing it deliberately and knowingly is evil. It's like live backwards,
hmm. Whoa.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but deliberately raising it, even if you're way down here in fear, deliberately raising it is massively empowering for
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
Exactly. Yes.
Fear says you don't know what you're doing, you can't do this, something's going to hurt you, and so you need to control it.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, there's the first thing of control and allowance. Control is fear, allowance is love. There's a
Mm-hmm.
simple way of looking at that energy and applying it to life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you control something, you'll find that it doesn't matter how much energy you pour into it, you don't have control. You
Mm-hmm.
keep in control, and it just hurts more and more and more. That's what our world's full of now.
Mm-hmm.
But allowance, suddenly all the pressure's gone. That's why when you start doing the things we love and just spending 5 minutes a day, maybe doing something we love, when we seem to be immersed in a job that we really do not enjoy, we hate it, maybe, powerful word, but as we move through that, we begin to dissolve our resistances, our fears. But it's the fear that we dissolve the control, let go of control, and go into allowance, and suddenly it just opens up to this whole landscape or spectrum, as I said, of potentiality from which we can choose.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't choose on someone else's behalf. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I agree
So,
completely. I want to go into where I'm gonna wrap it up pretty soon, but I wanted to ask you. I kind of do a lightning round for the podcast. These are like
yeah,
the questions I always ask to everyone because I love to hear their answers.
okay.
So first off, what book has changed your life?
Mine. For two reasons. Writing it changed my life, and it's changed my life in terms of when people have read it and it's changed their life, and
Hmm.
they let
Yeah.
me know.
Where can people get your book? Just for people
Oh,
who are wondering.
you buy Amazon, or it's called From Atoms to Angels.
And the link for that will be in the show
By
notes as
Paul
well.
Darrell Walsh. Yeah,
Yeah.
and also you can get it through my website, which is pauldarrellwalsh.com.
Also, that link will be in the bio.
Darrol, so it's got an O, not a Y, and Darrell. Yeah.
Yep. Next question is what quote has changed your life or stuck with you?
Imagination is more important than knowledge. And that was an Albert Einstein.
Hmm.
But also, my father had a good one, which was conflict never begets anything but conflict,
Yeah.
which is quite good. And I like one of my own ones, which is be pro something, anti nothing.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and also
also,
no
a
pain, no
good one.
pain. No.
Yeah, yeah. I like that one actually. That was great. And also, I came across one which I really loved, which is take life seriously, but not solemnly.
Hmm. Yeah. I love those. And
So
then,
that's four, but anyway, yeah.
yeah, the
Oh, another. Oh, sorry, can go back there for a minute? Another really excellent book is Space, Time, and Beyond.
space, time, and beyond.
Yeah, uh, it's a little paperback. I think it was written in the 70s or something. I've got it here. So where is it? Not the book, but I've got the note here because I keep forgetting who wrote it because it's a really humorous book on everybody's knowledge of quantum physics. It's by Bob Tobin and Fred Allen Wolf. It was written in 1975, first edition, but it makes quantum physics utterly understandable.
Hmm,
It's a combination of a physicist and a cartoonist that made this book. It's brilliant.
that's
Space,
awesome.
space, time, and beyond. Yeah,
Awesome. I will add that as well to the show notes for those of you who want to get that. The last question is, if you could tell 18-year-old you one thing, what would you tell him?
trust yourself.
Hmm. Yeah.
Trust yourself, and then trust life.
Hmm.
Any
Yeah.
distrust, any distrust of life and your potentiality and what might or could happen or whatever is an utter mistaken
Hmm.
idea.
Yeah, because the truth is life loves you and life wants the best for you. And when you
Life loves you.
recognize that, isn't that what you send in all your emails? You say, love life
Yeah,
because it loves you.
yeah,
That stuck with
exactly.
me, and that's a thing I tell myself all the time is whenever I feel out of control and I feel in fear, I tell myself, well, why would I feel this way? Life loves me. And it's
Well,
like,
life's not going to treat you any other way but with love.
yes. Yeah. And when you recognize that, you start to see it more and more, and it winks back at you, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
tell you, just if I can mention this, I have a, it just occurred to me when we spoke about the frequency thing before, and I forgot to mention it. How do
Hmm.
you sustain frequency? I have a little handout I do. I give it to people it's free all over the world. There's 33 ways to do it in your everyday life.
Hmm.
To live at something that'll stabilize your high frequency and raise your frequency by living in everyday right. It's a list of 33
Hmm.
things. I don't know if anybody wants that or not. And 33, of course, being a master number. But it's like meditate or be pro something, anti nothing, etc. Um,
Hmm.
and like give support, like celebrate other people's successes.
Yeah.
So many people say, I'm not going to celebrate that. That's it. Yeah, I want to. I want to see people who have gotten alignment with the divine and gotten alignment with creation and gone, look at that. Yeah, I'll go and celebrate that. You bet.
Hmm.
And just stuff like that. There's 33 things. So
Where can people find that? Is there
I can send it to you if you. I
that'd
mean,
be great.
I've got it as a PDF, and I can send it to you, and they can download it from you if you like.
Yeah, I'm
Send it
gonna
to
put that.
everybody.
I'll see if I can put it in the show notes or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
sure.
will be it will be down there. So
You
for those of you
betcha.
who want to see the 33 things, go for it. Paul, thank you, seriously, thank you so much for being here. I love talking to you. You are joy embodied in a human. Like literally, seriously, you're the best. I love you so much.
I really
Where can
appreciate it.
people find
Likewise.
out more about you?
Um, my website, pauldarrellwalsh.com.
Awesome.
Anybody wants to reach me, Paul at pauldarrellwalsh.com, or click the contact link in the website or whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
pretty simple website, but it gives a bit of a view of what I do. But email me and ask me if they want if they want to know, because usually it's something I do quite a spectrum of things. So usually it's something that's specific to their particular requirements at the time,
Hmm.
and I
Awesome.
can.
Well, thank you again, seriously, for being
Thank
on.
you, Solomon.
It's
It's
been a
great,
joy.
and your questions. It's great. I really love it. It's quality questions, my friend. It really is, And like I said, some of the people never ask me, but they are. I really appreciate the opportunity. You are bringing the light to
Mm,
all of these people, and that's wonderful.
that
Makes
means
all
a
of our
lot.
makes all of our work easier.
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful to have you here and just to be here with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Solomon. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye, everyone.